Hello, BookTube. I thought I would remind you of something, give you a reminder of something that was buried in a Last Week in BookTube video, so you might not have seen it, since the Last Week in BookTube video was a half an hour long and one of 10 videos I uploaded that day. So I thought I'd give you a separate reminder, just a quick video, to remind you that I am a frequent guest on a podcast. The only podcast that will have me. It's done by Alex Serrando, who was once a booktuber, once had a booktube channel called Kingly Endeavors, and now is engaged in a years-long project in connection with the book, one of those 1,000 movies to see before you die type books. He found one of those and decided to watch all of those movies and chronicle his adventures doing that. And that was a series of events that were attended by the public. That was a series of written posts. And it gradually morphed into a podcast that isn't necessarily only about that. And gradually, somehow, the idea came up that he might have me as a guest on one of his podcasts. And it was delightful. Delightful. One of the things that you have to worry about in a situation like that, I do anyway, is whether or not your interlocutor has the gift of gab, has what St.donoghue referred to as the gift of gab. Will they understand the give and take of conversation? Will they know how to keep it going? Will they refuse to let it run aground in any of the dry side channels that conversation can lead to? And Alex, it turns out, is really good at all of that. He's really good at being what I naturally, being an oldie Olderson, think of as a radio personality. Several of you who have gone to earlier podcasts of his have commented on that he has what used to be referred to as a golden voice for radio. we won't stoop to the usual joke here that he has the perfect face for radio, but the voice definitely I can attest to, and the manner. And he and I did a podcast, and it was a lot of fun. And it took a lot of editing work on his part to make it presentable. I can't thank him enough for that. And we did it again. And we are continuing to do it. We are continuing to do that. And the reason it's on my mind is because I think we're going to do another. We're going to record another session today. And so I wanted to make sure that I was putting the links. Alex sent me a list of links of all the places where podcast people tend to download their podcasts. I, ironically enough, am not a podcast person. I haven't yet figured out how to listen to them in a way that gives them anything like the attention that they deserve. Most of the time that I've tried a podcast, I've had so many of you recommend them. And most of the time that I try them, I get 5 minutes in and think, well, okay, this is reading time. this is reading time that I'm giving up to do this. Alex and a whole bunch of other people have told me that their erstwhile appeal before 2020 was commutes. People listen to them on their commutes. It was a perfect way to eat up time. And that I could probably see, but I don't commute. I barely put on pants. But nevertheless, he told me that you don't just get your podcasts from one place. There are plenty of places, and people have preferences, of course. So he sent me a link of all of those places. I put them in that Last Week in BookTube video, and I'll put them on this one too, just so you can see them, alone and isolated from everything else. And I would urge you to go and do whatever it is that people do with podcasts. Do you download them? Do you log that you've listened to them? I don't know. I don't even know that. But whatever, I'm sure that there is an option to let Alex know if you like what you hear. And if so, you should avail yourself of that option. You all have plenty of options to let me know if you like what you hear, because I leave my email on every video. But maybe if there's a rating thing, or if you can give stars or thumbs up on any of these platforms where you're downloading it and you like what you hear, feel free to do that. I'm sure it would benefit Alex. So I really ought to study up on podcasts before I talk about them next time. Since I don't have any idea what I'm talking about. You want to know every detail of the Venerable Bede? I'm your guy. but I think I can we never know what we're going to talk about. That's one of the great things about these conversations. But I think I can reasonably guarantee that the Venerable Bede will never come up in a podcast. So if you're looking to avoid that conversation, and as well you should be, then you can rest assured. if I am tempted, I will divert the subject into something else. But anyway, it was on my mind because I think we're going to record another session today or tomorrow or something like that. So I thought I would mention it. That if you're a fan of podcasts, and I know that a lot of you are, we have some fun, rollicking conversations. And Alex is a natural host. He is a natural presence in this medium. So feel free to avail yourself and go and listen. So that's it. That was just a reminder. I will wrap this up and we will get back to talking about books. Thank you, BookTube.